Welcome to video 2.4c, factor by grouping. I did B before with the sum or difference of cubes, so that's why I jumped to C. All right, two examples. Most important thing, notice that each of these problems has four terms. So whenever you see four terms, you're thinking of factoring by grouping. Three terms, normal, guess, and check. Two terms, difference of squares, or sum or difference of cubes. So two terms, three terms, four terms, very important. Okay, so factor by grouping, let's start grouping. So the way you do it is you just look at the first two terms as a group and the second two terms as a group, and I keep that operation sign out of the circles. Okay, so then in each circle, you're trying to factor. So now in here, I've got an x squared in common. Okay, so in this circle, I'll factor out an x squared, and I will obtain x plus 1. Some students freak out when the entire thing comes out. You can check your work by distributing. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 1 is indeed x squared. Okay. So then I'll put that operation sign, and then over here, if you can factor stuff out, go for it. I don't think I can. I'll just put an x plus 1. And you'll see that these problems are somewhat contrived. You're going to now try to look for, on the left side and the right side, any additional factor that's in common. Don't say x or x squared. The factor that's in common is actually this whole x plus 1 and this whole x plus 1. So now I'm factoring on both sides of that plus sign there. All right, and sometimes when I remove an entire factor, I find it easier to just say, let's have a coefficient of 1 be in front of it, and you'll see why shortly. Okay, so let's take that common factor out, just like we do normal factoring. So I'm going to take x plus 1 out. I'll underline it in blue, just so you know what's on the outside. And then, let's see who's on the inside. Who did I not underline in blue? X squared plus 1. And do not try to factor that. There is no factoring pattern for the sum of two squares. If that were a minus sign, that would be much different. So we're done, and that is the answer. Okay, so example 7, again, 4 terms, same thing. Let's circle the first two terms and circle the second two terms. Again, I like to keep that minus sign uncircled. All right, so in that first green circle, looks like an x squared. If I take the x squared out, I'm left with an x minus 2. I had a minus sign there. I'll have a minus sign there. Okay, so I'm going to do parentheses and try to factor something out. This is where students make mistakes. Again, it's related to distributing the negative. The most common mistake in all of algebra. All right, so I'm definitely thinking of taking a 9 out. So I'll take a 9 out, and then let's see who's left. Notice I'm putting in parentheses here, and they weren't there before. So I'm going to say an x here. Do not do this. That would be wrong. Because if you distribute, what's minus 9 times plus 2? Minus 18, and I don't have a minus 18. I have a plus 18. So I now have to go minus 2. Let's check my work. What's minus 9 times x? Minus 9x right there. What's minus 9 times minus 2? Plus 18 right there. That works. Another little hint. I had an x minus 2 there. It would be beneficial to have an x minus 2 there. Okay, so if ever these are off by a sign, check for that little mistake. I won't try to trick you and have it be a bad problem. All right, so now I'll underline those in blue. So that's a common factor on both sides of that minus sign. So I'm going to factor that out. So it'll be x minus 2. I'll underline that in blue. And then who remained? Who did I not underline? X squared minus 9. Oh, now I do have a difference of squares. So now I got to factor it some more. X minus 2, x minus 3, x plus 3. That had a lot of factoring in it. So there you have it. 2 examples on how to factor by grouping.